afternoon. I'm here today, gathered some of my most favorite ingredients possible to walk you through the Beth Myers keto coffee, or you might Google it and see bulletproof coffee. There are a lot of different recipes, several different ingredients. Coffee is, of course, the main ingredient, obviously, because it's called coffee. This is the afternoon. I didn't have time to do this in the morning. My work schedule's been very crazy today. Just taking a little afternoon break. So I've actually brewed some decaffeinated coffee. I'm going to start with that because I'm not even in the mood for lunch and I don't really have time for lunch. So I'm going to make some of my keto coffee with decaf, and that way it won't keep me up. I'll say, since I've adapted to ketosis, or I'm keto adapted, I'm a little more sensitive to things, alcohol, caffeine, that kind of thing. So I've really backed off my caffeine in the morning. I like a lot of coffee, so I've started blending in regular coffee in the morning with some decaf, and then this afternoon, of course, I'm doing totally decaf. So I start with some coffee. Actually, I like to make a nice pot of it to last me for a while, and I tend to keep it in a thermos just to keep it nice and warm through the day, and then I'll just top off my cup. So I'll start off the day and have like 1 cup of keto coffee if I'm feeling a little hungry, or maybe I know that I have a conference call and I want a little bit of brain fuel. A lot of the research that's out there, when you start researching ketosis, really recommends medium chain triglyceride oil as a fat to add into your diet that really, it makes you feel full. It's a derivative, by the way, of coconut oil. It's one of the 2 types of things that are in coconut oil, and it's the better derivative. There's a liquid version I use sometimes. It's a little, it can be distressing on your stomach if you drink it too fast. It's just a little rich, I guess. But I got turned on to this. It's a powdered medium chain triglyceride oil, and this brand is one that I really latch onto, and it blends beautifully in coffee with a blender, by the way. None of these oils really emulsify either in powdered form or liquid form well without a blender. So I'm going to use this in just a minute. But one thing I do want to let you know for safety purposes, if you're using a Vitamix or a Bullet or Ninja or whatever one of those are, you probably don't want your coffee scorching hot, just for safety purposes. And most of these things are plastic. I don't know, maybe if you had a glass one, it might be okay. So what I tend to do is I'll pour a cup of coffee in the morning and I'll sip on it and just let it cool a little bit. Still want it nice and warm. I mean, you'll see it's probably still steamy. And then I'm going to take that and I'm just going to pour it into, I took my little small bullet thing to Jerry's already. So I'm actually going to use my full-blown Vitamix, which has so much more power than those little small bullets, at least the one that I have, which is very powerful, but just not as powerful. I spilled coffee on the other side, so that's why I'm rinsing it. Ordinarily, I wouldn't. So I put my coffee in there, and what I'm going to do, the recipe that I use, if you read about this, it says a serving is a scoop. And again, it's adding fat into your diet, a healthy fat. It's 70 calories and 0 carbs, because it's 1 total carbohydrate with 1 gram of fiber. So you subtract the gram of fiber from the total carb, and that's 0 net carbs. So there are no carbs in here at all. It says barely a gram of protein. So basically, I'm just adding some fat. All right, and there she goes. Just plop it right down in there. I'm going to put it aside. The next thing I'm going to do is I feel like a little bit of butter today. I don't always put butter in it. There's also something that some people will put in it called ghee. I think I was telling you all about that the other day. Ghee is actually clarified butter. It smells like the kind of butter that you put on your popcorn at the movie theater. It's very buttery. It's a very distinct buttery, very buttery taste. The benefit of using ghee is that they've taken the milk solids out of it. So you'll read about ketosis that some people say stay away from any milk products at all. I do have a little bit sometimes. If I feel like just a cup of coffee without doing all this, I'll put some heavy whipping cream. I don't have half and half or creamer because that has carbs in it, has milk in it. You know, lactose is a sugar. So just think about that. So sometimes I'll use the ghee, but I'm not really in the mood for it. Again, it's a little more buttery taste than regular butter. I'm going to put just a skosh, if that's really a word, of butter. And when I say just a little bit, I mean just a little bit. So butter's your friend on keto. So as long as you're lacto-ovo vegetarian, slather the butter on stuff. That's a great way to get your fat in for the day. Because again, this is high fat, moderate protein, very low carb if you're truly going into ketosis. So I'm putting just a little bit. Well, actually, that was a really teeny little bit. So I'll probably put just a little bit more in there. And that's all I'm going to probably do for much, although this is afternoon and maybe I do need a little treat. So I was going to tell Jean a little bit about some of the stevia drops. I'll tell you that in just a minute. I forgot. I put a little dash of salt. I don't know if you've ever learned that. I had read about that before I became a follower of ketosis. Put a little dash of salt in your coffee, and it's really good. It can kind of, I don't know if it kind of softens it or whatever. Some people say it makes it less bitter. I don't know, there's just a nice little flavor, sort of like salted caramel or something like that. It's like a little dash of salt in there is good. And when you're in ketosis, you're going to be dehydrated. You need more salt. You need a lot more electrolytes. That's another story for another day. So anyway, I get a big bag of it, like a 5-pound bag, and I just keep some of it in this, and I keep my little shaker topped off, and I'll put just another dash in there because I really enjoy it. The other thing I'm going to put in it just for the benefit is some cocoa powder, and there's some health benefits of this. Is pure organic cocoa, very has that chocolatey hint, but no sweetness at all. So don't go tasting it if you're getting in the mood for just some chocolate flavor or whatever. But it has some health benefits, and it does give sort of like a cocoa flavor to this. So I'll put a little bit in there. But if you want some sweetening, actually that's really good if you're not going for a sweet kind of mocha chocolate kind of thing. A few different things. I use stevia drops. I was telling you I order them from Amazon. Keep them in the fridge once they're open. This is plain, and it's a bigger one because you never know what I might do with it. The one I use the most probably is the chocolate flavor, and it actually, by the way, these are just like little droppers, and you will learn how much you need for sweetness. For a cup of coffee, I probably would only put, I don't know, I put anywhere from 5 to 10 drops of something in it. Stevia, if you haven't had much of it, it can have a little bit of a bitter aftertaste, so you probably don't want to overdo it. It's really, really sweet. I don't remember, we're going to have to look online at how much sweeter than sugar it really is. So I don't need much, and actually, again, I don't usually put it in there, but sometimes I do. There's vanilla, and there's also a nice toffee flavor. So that's what I'm going to do, and just because I'm making this, and someone that puts sugar on, to show someone who puts sugar in their coffee, I'm going to probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do 8, kind of in between the 5 and the 10, right? Can't do a half, so can't do 7.5. And then what I'm going to do is actually, I don't do this at high speed or anything. I just do enough to emulsify the butter and the oil in here. If you have a Vitamix, just make sure it's turned down really low. And I'm just going to turn it on and let it do its thing. I'll probably turn it up just a little bit. That's really all you need to do. So I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to get my coffee cup. Look at that nice froth that's on there. Doesn't that look delicious? Can you smell that? It smells delicious. So I'm going to pour it in my cup. Every last little drop out. Nice little frothy foam on there, if you can see it. And then because I'm my own barista today and I want it to smell good when I take a sip of it, and I want it to look pretty, I'm going to put just a little bit of powdered cocoa right on the top. Smell it? Ooh, I look tired in this overhead light, don't I? And it's delicious. Calm, zen, decaf, coffee, little treat for the afternoon. Those 7 or 8 drops, just the right amount of sweetness if you're going for that latte flavor. And something I do too is if, because this is kind of a chilly day, just put it in the microwave, heat it up just a little bit more since you took the edge off the heat. It makes a really nice just afternoon treat or a morning treat if you need to sweeten your coffee. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Hope you enjoy.